Today I'm talking to Nigel Foote about an exciting project he's undertaking. Hi Nigel. Nigel, please tell us about this new project about the Anglo-Indian community.
Thanks, Lynne. Lynne, I believe we must focus the Anglo-Indian community to participate in preserving our oral and photographic history.
Why is this project so important?
Anglo-Indians have a proud and rich legacy which continues today in India and other countries. The community has been in India for over 400 years. Much of its history is unknown and little, if any, is celebrated. American and Australian colonial history is significantly less, being just over 200 years.
Nigel, that's amazing. It highlights why the community has such a defined culture all of its own.
Yes, Lynne. In fact, the community has made a tremendous contribution in India and still does. Anglo-Indians are well respected and make good citizens wherever they've settled in the world.
I agree, Nigel. Anglo-Indians and their children not born in India should be proud of their Anglo-Indian roots.
Exactly, Lynne. During my research in Australia, I interviewed Dr. Richard Johnson from Deakin University in Melbourne. Now, Richard describes the Anglo-Indian community as a bridge between Indians and Europeans, which became the backbone of economic and cultural crossover between India and the world.
That's a wonderfully insightful acronym, Nigel. Gandhi, too, in 1915 highlighted this fact in a conversation with the former mayor of Rangoon, Charles Campagnac. In his own words, Gandhi told him that Anglo-Indians with their double blood, double intelligence and double sympathies could do much to bridge the gulf between East and West.
Gandhi had amazing foresight. In fact, during my research in India in 2005 and 2007, I interviewed Indians, mainly in their 60s and older, who worked closely with Anglo-Indians in the railways. Now, they were very complimentary and nostalgic about the Anglo-Indians, especially their fairness and willingness to work with the many diverse castes and creeds in India.
You know, Nigel, this paints a very different picture of the Anglo-Indian compared to the negative image that has dogged the community for decades.
True. Sadly, I've spoken to Anglo-Indians who still believe this awful, ignorant and historically inaccurate description. Look, the best way to address this negative stereotype is to celebrate our legacy and to document achievements before we lose too many of our older generation who hold so much of the community's oral history and have so many precious photographs and memorabilia.
I understand the urgency, Nigel, but how can people help and contribute to the Anglo-Indian Heritage Collection?
Well, by sharing or gifting photos, documents and memorabilia. Also, people should write and record their memoirs and share them with us so we may archive and develop material for future generations to access and view. Now, their stories don't need to be celebratory. They just need to be stories told by Anglo-Indians, and they will have a commonality that will identify them. There's no need to prove or show or demonstrate. There is just the need to tell the stories. And the Anglo-Indian Heritage Collection Project is providing the opportunity.
Nigel, have people begun to contribute to share their valuable stories with you?
Yes, I've received some fascinating and stirring stories and 2 absolutely amazing personal memoirs. Now, these are stories of struggle, sad stories of family separation and hardship, but also they're stories, wonderful stories of happy, carefree days. Look, this is definitely a heritage worth preserving. I feel very privileged that people share this with me.
Nigel, this is such a wonderful and worthwhile project and very beneficial for future generations. As the Anglo-Indian community integrates with other communities and races, it makes sense to record and archive its history, just like other communities around the world.
Exactly, Lynne. I believe we must start as soon as possible. In 10 to 15 years, we may lose the last generations of Anglo-Indians that were born, worked and lived under British rule and witnessed Indian independence. I've termed these Anglo-Indians as Generation T, Anglo-Indians born in the 1920s.
Okay, Nigel, how can people contact you to find out more about the project and ask specific questions?
It's easy for people to contact me. They can email me, they can write, Even telephoning me is fine. I've had some great phone conversations. Now, we've also got a web page under construction, and that will further explain in greater detail the project's goals.
Well, that's great, Nigel. Thanks for sharing your project with me.
Thank you, Lynne. I appreciate your efforts to communicate this to people. I look forward to discussing this project with you again soon, and also letting you know how the Anglo-Indian Heritage Collection is progressing. Thank you.